Art education is important in schools, and there are multiple reasons why. One of those reasons would be that it allows students to have an outlet for the rest of the day. It distracts them from what's going on throughout the school day and helps them recharge their brains to continue the rest of the day strong. They are able to get up and out of the classroom and go somewhere else where it's a different environment and they can do different work, and it makes them forget about what they were doing in the classroom. It is important to teach students that not all art is the same, and just because one person did something a little different doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. The student also shouldn't have to follow what the art teacher is doing and make it exactly like that, because it's just teaching them that there's a wrong answer. In art, there is no wrong answer, unlike there are on tests and quizzes. Art also allows students to show unique things about themselves, where they can take what they see in their own mind and put it on paper and explain to other people how they are feeling. Art can also be tied into multiple lessons to engage students and make them want to try harder. If you put an art lesson in with a science lesson, it makes them more willing to want to do the project because it's an interactive thing. It's also proven that when students are in an art class, that their grades are higher because they are able to get their mind off of other things and focus more on tests when it comes time for the test.
All of us are able to relate to music in some way. Music has had probably a positive impact in your life some way or somehow, and I think that we all love music somewhere deep inside our heart. And when talking about putting music and art and education, it's very, very important. Countless stories and research in the schools show that if a child is exposed to the arts while in school, the chances of them learning more and being more academically involved will grow. Music is an escape for many of us. It was a huge part of my life. Luckily, I grew up in a household that had music every day. But I remember my elementary school, I only went to music class once a week. And I can only imagine the kinds of things that I would have been able to accomplish if I had music class consistently every single day. So I'm going to be talking today about just the importance of music in education, and not only an education separate from learning all the Common Core subjects, but using music to help learn those Common Core subjects, implementing music, learning math, and learning to read, and all of these things that you can do, that the arts, visual arts, music mostly is what I'm going to be talking about today, but how all of those things can positively impact your education. We all have heard those miracle stories about how these musicians or dancers or artists come up out of places you just never think of. It comes from somewhere that's deeper inside their soul. And I'm just going to talk to you about one story of a girl named Jamie Grace, who is a famous Christian artist, and she plays a guitar and is a singer. She's pretty spunky, but she actually has Tourette's, and when she gets on stage and starts playing her guitar, all of the symptoms of the Tourette's go away, and they stay away for an entire hour after she performs. So there's just this music has this certain hold on people that will not let them go. And in one article from the Waikato Journal of Education, I'm going to read you a quote that says, "In a rapidly changing world, our students need to be creative in order to adjust to several careers in a lifetime, to be innovative, to see connections, and solve increasingly complex problems." We need music in our education systems, like I said, not only as a separate class, but integrated in with the other Common Core subjects, because countless research has been done to show the positive impacts that music and the arts can have on.
Everybody has to suffer through, unfortunately, is school. So something that can be very important to people is integrating art into school. Now, this can be important because everybody approaches the world through their own lens, and a lot of people view the world through a lens of art. And that can be of any medium. People can view art through creative visual mediums, such as photography. Like, they could see a beautiful landscape and think of taking pictures. They could see very geometric sequences in buildings and think about doing some surrealist art. People could, really any art medium could be used as a lens through which to see the world. And so it's important to a lot of people to integrate art into how they learn and in their school. Now, all different classes, be it math, science, history, or English, can be tied into art really easily. English, most obviously, there's great literary works that you read. There's creative writing, so you can better understand what you just read, or even just better to express yourself, or better express different concepts. Another one, history. So much of history is learning about different great pieces of literature, like Greek literature. In history, you see a lot of visual art. You see a lot of paintings and from different art eras, such as like progressivism, modernism, surrealism, and so forth. Math isn't probably the most difficult to integrate art. However, it's still really easy if you're willing to look deep enough. In math, there's geometric sequences. There's all kinds of numbers and things like matrices, things like integration, things like function of any kind. You could think of through a lens of just viewing the world. And like with solids and in higher order classes like calculus, you can think of things like sculpting, or even like the works of Kandinsky were very geometric. So Katrina Schwartz, she wrote an article on the integration of art into schools, where she followed the Integrated Arts Academy, where they did their best to integrate arts through all classes. In their 4th grade classroom, they viewed the works of Kandinsky when they were going through their geometry stuff. And what they found was that before they integrated art, their proficiency was about 16%. After integrating the art and using that as a lens to look at math, their proficiency in that class was 66%. So integrating art is definitely helpful to young students. It increases test scores, it increases enjoyment, and it's very fulfilling to students in school, be it elementary, middle, high school, or even college.